Okay, Shayne, could you tell us how big do they get, these barracuda?
You're not going to believe me when I tell you. So that's the big finale of this series on the barracuda. And when I say great barracuda, you have no idea until I finish. But before that, I forgot a few things. And this we're on our last reel here, probably. The first thing is I said about when do barracuda attack people, right? I forgot the most important of all. If you shoot at them. That was in the list as well. They don't like being shot at. And after reading that, I asked some divers about it. And one diver told me, in fact, he had shot at a barracuda and missed. And the barracuda turned the way they do and then shot right between his legs. So I suggest that that story, I wasn't there to witness it, but if it's true, it shows not only that the barracuda has great intelligence, but that they like people. And I even think it shows they have a sense of humor, because the barracuda was obviously saying to the guy, don't shoot at me, I can slice off your gonads if I want to, and disappeared into the sunset after making that statement. So also I should say, I was diving in the Bahamas, and we had a barracuda who would dive with us. He'd be waiting for us when we got in the water. Not a very big guy, about this long. And he had a hook in his jaw that he managed to rip off of a line, so he looked something like a pirate with a ring in his ear. And they knew him by name. His name was George. So George followed us around as we dove every morning, and scared the hell out of some people. But of course, when you've seen him 3 or 4 days, it seemed more like having kind of a dog come along with you on the adventure than anything else. But I did have kind of an adventure with George too, because I had a little camera with me one day, and I decided perhaps I could sneak up on him. You know, there was a kind of a rock outcropping, and he was kind of lurking up at the top of it. So I said to myself, if I come around here with the camera around this rock, he won't see me. Come out underneath him, I'll get a really close picture of this guy. It'll be a wonderful picture. And I did it. It worked, but I got too close. So when I came around the rock, George's lips were about 3 inches above the camera that I was pointing at him. And, of course, the striking thing about it, he just stayed there, you know. He wasn't worried. He didn't care. He knew what he was. And, of course, I never got the picture. I just froze about 4 inches from his muzzle. And he wasn't a big cuda, but his mouth was already as big as your average German Shepherd, let's say. So, so that's the smaller cuda. Even a little guy can scare people. And they have a sense of humor, too. But anyway, the biggest guy of all I can say is I'm glad before I get to that, in the club in Martinique where I worked, there was a lot of diving. As I said, we used to take divers over onto the wild side of Martinique and let them dive over there. But diving was forbidden at the Club Med. In Guadeloupe, the next island over, 50 miles over, they wouldn't let people dive, and no one was quite sure why. Although we did hear rumors about really nasty barracuda around the island of Guadeloupe. Just rumors, you know, from divers who came over and so on. And in fact, while I was down there in Martinique, a couple of German guests took a flight over to Guadeloupe and went diving together, you know, without supervision, just the two of them, and hired a boat. And only one of them came back. And one of them turned around and the other was simply gone. Was it a cuda? Well, I just say this. When I was in the Bahamas, my last day there, I was on the dock, and I looked down off the dock, and I saw a cuda as big as a 2-man sub. You know those little submarines they built during the war for spies to go under boats in? This guy was monstrous. I won't even try to put numbers on it, but there was a woman I didn't know on the dock. She saw him too, and she said to me, "What is that?" And I said, "You know what that is," because it was perfect. It was a perfect barracuda. All divers know what they look like. It was just that he was so huge, she couldn't believe it. I'd say over 600 pounds. I'd say over 10 feet long. Now, the biggest they've ever captured was 100 pounds already, and that means they could take him on the line. This guy, I think, was about 6 7 times that, and he looked just like his little brother. So I think I've seen the king of the barracudas, or the emperor of the barracudas, although who knows, they could get bigger than that. Things get bigger and bigger in the ocean till they die, I suppose. Anyway, he could have gotten, or one of his pals his size, certainly could have picked off that German diver in Guadeloupe. Well, that's about all my barracuda tales, really. I think when you get that close to a fish and to a wild creature, you really gain tremendous respect for them. I mean, you really realize you're on their territory. They're calling the shots. You're looking at an animal with a brain goes back to prehistoric times, bigger than a German Shepherd, at least the mouth. Wild, he's in the water, you're in his area. It's a great experience. They're beautiful fish. Try to find some to eat if you can, but don't sue me if the barracuda gets the last laugh and kills you.